But now I feel like James Gunn is like, we are in a time where people need that symbol of hope, where kids, there's so many characters on TV and movies that kids watch that aren't pure heroes anymore. And Superman is going to be that. And where he's the most infallible is that he'll never break his will or his goodness. Drink up, me arties, yo-ho, for one more time? Recent reports indicate that might be the case, and we'll talk all about Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, and pirates on this episode. So welcome, everybody, to Nerdy and Nice. We are here to talk to you as we are weeks away from Christmas, from a new year, on what the latest is in movies, TV, pop culture. I'm John. With me, as always, is Lacey. Lacey, we talk a lot about DC and what's going on with James Gunn. We have another update from him later. But to kick things off, people can now buy the Batmobile tumbler from the Dark Knight Batman trilogy of Christopher Nolan. And
yeah, they were like raffling that off or something, auctioning it off recently.
Yeah, but and now you could buy them for the low price of $3 million. And apparently, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, who many say looks like Macaulay Culkin, Joe Burrow, bought one. He just bought a Batmobile. Does that make him the best player in the NFL now?
No, because think of the things you could do with the $3 million. Like, that's what you're doing with it.
I would buy the Michael Keaton Batmobile myself.
I guess, it's your money, do what you want with it, but at the same time, it's like, I think of it like you could have gotten something nice with $1 million, and then with the other $2 million, you could have done something nice for like people that need it.
Oh, well, I'm sure he has his charitable endeavors.
I hope so, but I don't know. That car's ugly.
It's not my favorite Batmobile.
Sorry, guy.
It's cool, but I would definitely go with the Michael Keaton one.
Yeah, that one's cool to walk, like to drive around. You go park it somewhere and people be like, oh, awesome. The other one looks very military. So I don't know if you could really get away with driving that thing around.
Yeah, if I saw that coming down the street, I would get nervous. If I didn't know that it was from Batman.
Yes.
Whereas if I saw like
you'd have the FBI at your house.
I'd be like, oh my God, it's Batman. I would chase it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, if you guys have $3 million, you could join our Patreon at patreon.com/TRB podcast at any tier starting at $5, or you can buy Christopher Nolan's Batmobile. So choose wisely and support the show. Lacey, we have weird stories, expected stories, and also intriguing possibilities. So let's get into what's happening.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
So guys, I'm going to kick off this topic to just let everybody know that I sound a little funky tonight. I've been battling whatever this is, cold, flu, whatever you want to call it, sinus infection. So if I sound weird, that's why, and I apologize. So if this is your first episode, please come back next week when I'm feeling better as well.
I don't think you sound that different.
It's a little more in my nose, but anyway, I just wanted to say that so people are like, "What's wrong with her?"
Extra nerdy.
Ugh. All right. The first topic tonight is something that I'm actually pretty pumped about, which is Johnny Depp could return as Jack Sparrow for the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. So originally they weren't going to have him be a part of it. It was going to move on to Margot Robbie. It was going to be a whole new movie. Although now the rumors are that he's coming back. So Pirates producer Jerry Bruckheimer is developing 2 versions of the script on parallel tracks, one that could bring Depp back into the fold if the actor and Disney can reconcile. And nothing has been ruled out, said one knowledgeable source. Yeah. Anything else to add to this, John? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think he's going to come back. I think people, whether you agree with it or not, or what you think about, like, I don't think the public needs to know about celebrities and their relationships. I mean,
you can support someone by or not support them by not going to the movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But he, I guess, won that case against Amber Heard, and he's trying to work his way back. And he said in many interviews, this being Johnny Depp, that he doesn't actually like Hollywood. So I don't know if it's something that would interest him. I don't know where his finances are at, whether he needs another Jack Sparrow or not. They still use Jack Sparrow lookalikes all over the Disney parks, so they're not erasing. He's still all over the ride. He's the main feature on the ride, so they didn't like take him out, anything like that. But and like when we talk about Star Wars and the way they seem to be pivoting back to familiarity, the way Bob Iger has said that about all their IPs. Here's another one, Pirates of the Caribbean. So I think they're going to do the same thing here. There was rumors about Margot Robbie leading one. There was rumors about a whole different one that had nothing to do with anybody. I think they want to play things safe. The first Pirates of the Caribbean blew people away. The franchise made so much money.
4.53 billion the franchise has made.
And I also think Disney sometimes is not afraid of outcry. So for people who might be like, I'm never going to see Johnny Depp in another movie again, it's like, they're like, okay, but I bet a lot of people will. Just take a look at the political climate in the world. Take a look at a lot of things. I could see Johnny Depp coming back. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. So I think there will be a reunion here. And I actually think it's a good move, because even with Johnny Depp, I felt like the Pirates movies sort of got lower and lower in quality and interest. The first one was so good. I don't think they ever reached that. I think maybe they have an opportunity, obviously with Jerry Bruckheimer here, and how he resurrected Top Gun with Tom Cruise. I could see them going for another big swing and bringing it back to form. And you can't do that without Jack Sparrow. You cannot have Timothée Chalamet rolling up all of a sudden as Jack Sparrow. It has to be Johnny Depp. He could still play the character. He's not that old. So I think it's going to happen. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. I have no thoughts on the case. I obviously am not for anything that's anybody's being accused of on both sides.
Right.
But at the same time, that's their business. It doesn't impact me. I love Jack Sparrow. It's one of the greatest characters ever created. I think I've said this before. I believe Johnny Depp should have won an Oscar for that role. Like, that is one of the most iconic things we've ever seen in a movie. Like, it is the character of Pirates of the Caribbean. So you can't, like you said, have this franchise carry on. It's like having Transformers without Optimus Prime. It's like having Pokemon without Pikachu. Like, you can't have these franchises without that staple. Harry Potter without Harry Potter. They tried that and it did terrible. So
terrible. And Johnny Depp was in that as a different guy. So.
He was Grindelwald, right? Grindelwald or whatever that
you
guy's
would
name
know better than me.
But yeah, this has me excited because I really do enjoy these movies. And I think that in filmmaking and kind of as a society too, I think people have created such high expectations for movies now that, like, they don't go to movies to have fun. They're like, this movie has to change my life. This has to be the best thing I've ever seen. Or it has to be terrible enough that everybody's talking about how bad it is. Like, there can never be movies that are just good, that are just fun. And I feel like while the Pirates first one was amazing and is one of my favorite movies ever made, I do think the second one was fun. I thought the third one was fun. I think I saw the most recent one, which I thought was fine. It was fun. It was enjoyable to watch.
That one with Gerard Depardieu.
Yes. Dead Man's Tale or Dead Man.
Or was it
Tells
Javier
No
Bardem,
Tale.
maybe?
Yes, that guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Very good at playing villains, by the way. That guy.
He is good. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I would love to see him come back, but at the same time, I don't want him to come back for, like, if the story's not there. Because I feel like they keep playing on this nostalgia thing, and I get it, but like, Pirates came out in like 2006, right? So it's like, it's not been that long.
20 years.
I guess, but not like, I don't know.
It's gonna
To
be
me,
it's gonna
it's
be like a
making me
soft
feel old.
reboot, right? Don't you
Yeah, I
think?
guess so. I guess so.
And
But
if
I
he's
think this is totally true. I think they
yeah,
are working on a script for him.
and if they bring him back, I hope they bring him back as a lead and not a cameo. You know what I mean? If you're gonna bring Jack Sparrow back,
Yeah,
you gotta
don't give
bring
me the
Jack Sparrow back.
moment.
No,
Give me
yeah,
the
yeah,
full tale. Yeah,
right.
the full dead man's tale, if you will. Um, here all night. Next, in what's
Sure.
happening, of course, we're going to talk about some James Gunn because it's happening. He is what's happening.
Mhm.
So he's talking about Creature Commandos and Superman and says, quote, David Cornsweet, who's playing Superman, is going to, quote, freak everyone out. And the full quote is, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, David is going to freak everyone out with how great he is. Gunn insists. He is one of the best actors I've ever worked with, and he can do everything. The man is incredible. John, I don't think you could possibly be more hyped
This is
for this
ridiculous.
movie. But I'm going to ask you anyway. Does this make you excited, John?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Superman is a very tough nut to crack because he is all but kryptonite, infallible, and it's hard to, especially today, like in the 50s, writing Superman comics, it was like he's Superman. He's
Mm-hmm.
the beacon of goodness. He will truth, justice, the American way, hands on his hips sort of thing. And as more time goes by and society changes, Superman, I think they had a hard time figuring out where he fit after the Christopher Reeve stuff, and they tried to do a soft sequel to the Christopher Reeve stuff with Brandon Routh and Superman Returns. We've talked about that. Man of Steel, they gave it the Nolan edge, which is still incredibly fantastical, but more gritty and real and explaining terraforming and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still my favorite Superman movie. But
Mm-hmm.
now I feel like James Gunn is like, we are in a time where people need that symbol of hope, where kids, there's so many characters on TV and movies that kids watch that aren't pure heroes anymore. And Superman is going to be that. And where he's the most infallible is that he'll never break his will or his goodness. And then now he talked about all of that and how he wants to bring the character to life. And now he's talking about the actor who's Juilliard trained. So is Christopher Reeve. And the fact that he's saying he's one of the best actors I've ever worked with. I mean, think about all the people that James Gunn has worked with. And he's saying he's one of the best. It's just, I don't know what else this guy can say to get me more hyped about it. He seems
What would
extremely
it be?
confident. Huh?
Genuinely, what would he say that would get you even more excited?
If he said, like, he'll never say it, but if he was like, my Superman movie makes the Guardians movies look like crap. And I love the Guardians movies. They're my favorite Marvel movies. But so in other words, he can't say anything at this point. But the fact that he's not only the writer and director of this movie, he's the CEO of the studio. He's putting himself out there saying, full confidence, I'm really hyping up my own movie here. He's gonna have to eat all these words if it's not the truth. So he fully believes in what he's doing, and everything he approaches everything with a very measured, planned, tactical approach. I think he has everything in lockstep. So I can't increase my hype anymore. It's just gonna be a matter of when I do this podcast after having seen the trailer, which is hopefully coming soon, as we recently talked about. So I have no more thoughts to add here. I'm rooting for David Cornsweet, and I was a huge Henry Cavill Superman fan. You can be both. You can be both.
Yeah, it really seems like James Gunn is putting his career on the line with this movie. Not just his career at DC Comics, obviously, but I think his entire film career with how much pressure is on him. Like, he took Guardians of the Galaxy and made it this big franchise. It has its own ride now. It has not just one ride, two rides.
Yeah.
Got merchandise. It has this whole, new kind of universe that surrounds it, that then developed other films based on it, and other people wanted to make his films. So now he's got to go back to the forefront of like setting the bar of what a good comic book movie is. He's doing it differently than everybody else. And
Yeah.
I think, just like you care, clearly, John, I think he cares very much about this character, and he knows what he has to deliver on. So I agree. I think like he can't fail. This has to be good. He can't, like, because that sets the trend for the rest of his DCU timeline. If this movie is not good, everyone's gonna be like, why would I ever trust James Gunn with any of these beloved characters again?
Right.
I think he's gonna make something, like you said, for kids, that's hopeful, that families can go see together, that's heartfelt and meaningful and
Yeah.
hopeful.
You want kids walking out of the theater like wanting to strap a cape on their shoulders and pretend that they can fly and save the world. Like that
Yeah.
is inspiring good stuff. So yeah.
I knew when he had the dog in there, things were getting real. Things
I
were getting real
know.
serious. Real
And
adorable.
he knows his comics too. So the people that try to check him on that stuff, he's like, well, actually, in the 1987 run, they did. It's like, oh,
Yeah, sit
and James
down,
Gunn's
please.
not afraid to chirp back at people and correct people. So
Yeah,
they got the right guy. I'm envious that DC's got him.
yeah, do not actually, James Gunn. You're not gonna win there.
No.
Speaking of Superman / Juggernaut, this next film has been killing it at the box office, which is Moana 2. John put Moana 2 Moolah now.
That was deadline. That part was deadline.
Oh,
Yeah.
John.
The second part I added, but
Moana Moolah, 400 million plus worldwide box office. It went from a Disney Plus series, for those of you that don't know. They then morphed it into a movie. I've seen mixed reviews, but you can't deny the fact that this movie has made a ton of money. And if it tells Disney anything, it's people want what they know. They want nostalgia. They want the characters they like. And Bob Iger was 100% correct 2 years ago when he took over for Chapek and said, we're going back to the basics. We're going back to the IPs that people love, that people go to the movies for. And our goal is to entertain you. And people were entertained over Thanksgiving weekend and beyond. John, do you think they're going to make another Moana? Obviously, they're making the live action one. We already talked about that. But do you think they're going to make a Moana 3?
yeah, I think movie studios love trilogies. I think we are, depending on what is going on with Ellen, who has now left the United States, but
Oh, yeah.
and it came out that she wasn't the greatest of people, but I can see Finding Marlin being a movie that gets made, like a third Finding Nemo movie where the dad gets lost this time or something like that. I think that's coming. We got Toy Story 5 coming. I think there's a lot more coming. So Moana, now that it's already made at 400 million, I think you can definitely guarantee a third animated movie. I'm going to see this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have the opportunity to get the kids out to see it in the theater. But I've heard visually it's fantastic. I heard some of the new music is good. I'm sure The Rock is The Rock. I'm sure he delivers whatever the Maui story is in this one. But criticisms be damned. This would have made $0, and now it's made $400 million. Unless you buy into the idea that people subscribe to Disney Plus to watch Moana 2, I think it's more existing viewers. So what's more interesting to me is, as more of this happens, Mandalorian's up next for Star Wars, the same transition. What does that mean for the Disney Plus original stuff? And do we go back to where maybe they pull back and they license other studio stuff and put it on Disney Plus? Is it more of the Hulu drive that's going to push their content? Like, is the Disney original stuff going to continue to pop up in the way it had been in the last 5 years? And I'm beginning to think no, because they're seeing people shift back outside their houses and go into theaters again, because Thanksgiving weekend broke records, not only just for this movie, but all the movies that have been coming out. Gladiator and what was the other one that did gangbusters? I mean,
Wicked.
Yeah, Wicked. Yeah, Wicked, Moana, Gladiator, just millions and hundreds of millions of dollars just pouring in. So if you put stuff out there and people are aware of it and it looks good, people are going back to the theaters. They're just more selective. So you got to deliver, you got to give them a presentation that makes them feel like, I got to go check this one out. Like you've been saying, you make it an event.
Yeah, I think Disney has a little bit of a leg up on competition for making money in this instance, only because they really are dominating for kids' movies. Because there aren't a lot of movies. Like, you're not going to take your kids to Gladiator 2. You might take them to Wicked,
Right.
maybe, but probably not. Where are you going to take them if you want to go to a movie together? If you want something to do, it's been very cold lately up in the Northeast. I'm going to go to Moana 2. Moana's out. You like Moana. And Moana 1 did so well that you
Mhm.
just have that audience already that's going to translate into a second one. I hope that studios are taking away that we need more family-oriented kids content. Because outside of, Bluey, there hasn't been anything in the past few years that, like, has
You love
really
Bluey.
I do love Bluey, but I'm saying there hasn't been anything that's kinda dominated the kids space like Bluey has, which
Yeah.
Bluey's on Disney, by the way.
Yep.
But, like, movie-wise, I can't like, I know Inside Out 2 did really well about a month and a half ago, but again, we haven't had a really big kids movie lately, and that
Mhm.
was a big movie that was a sequel. So Bob Iger knows his stuff. Everybody likes to hate on him from time to time, and look, he said some dumb stuff during the strike. I get that. But the man is a businessman, and he's looking to make money for him and his investors in the business. So they're going to
And
keep making these. I'm interested to see what they're doing with Frozen. They're doing Frozen 3, 4, and 5. Like,
they're doing three more of them? Wow.
yep, my kids love Frozen. Cannot
Yeah.
wait for more Frozen.
Yeah.
It's just it's like literally printing money at this point.
But also, aside from when it first started, of course,
Hmm.
like Disney has been a studio, whatever you want to call it, franchise, just based on nostalgia. Like with
Mhm.
the parks, the smells, everything is consistent to how it used to be. Everything looks exactly the way it needs to look, the way you remember it. It's a Small World is still there. The
It's an
castle's still
experience, yeah.
there. Disney is rooted in making you feel like a kid again. And nostalgia is a super highway to that feeling. So this should come as no surprise to anybody. They've been doing sequels forever. A lot of them were straight to video in the 90s, like Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and Aladdin, Prince of Thieves, and they weren't as good, but they still did them.
Return of Jafar.
And then Prince of Thieves was the third one, where
Mhm.
like Robin Williams came back. The guy who voiced Homer Simpson played the genie in the second one, actually. Fun fact.
No
But
me gusta.
but now they're doing it, but they're doing it big budget still, and
Mhm.
that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that's not big budget and is going against everything we just talked about.
Not wholesome at
Not
all.
wholesome, not good,
Yeah.
not family. Depends who you ask, I guess, because they call themselves family. But this is more of a call out, I think, to John and I, because this was a very big thing, at least when I was in college, which is Jersey Shore kind of took over. And it was kind of weird to think to the greater United States and world that people like this existed. But to John and I, we are very aware of people from New Jersey and specifically people like this. And the Jersey Shore was recently on a podcast for Complex Magazine where they kind of did a look back. I guess they have an upcoming series where they do a reunion. And Sammy, I guess it's the first time she's talking to Ronnie again in like 20 years or something like that. They're putting them in a house for the weekend or some getaway or whatever. But they asked him kind of something gross. And it caught me off guard and it made me laugh because over the summer, John was down there in the Jersey Shore and took a picture in front of the house. And I remember being like, that's so funny that you took a picture in front of the house because I'm sure people take pictures all day.
Mhm.
And I think that really is our age group that grew up with this kind of situation, which is funny because Mike, the situation is in the but they talked about how the sheets in the house, did they ever wash the sheets? And they were like, no, we were 20 somethings, which I don't know what age you have to be to understand that your sheets are dirty. Like I tell my daughter all the time, like we're cleaning your sheets. It's just good habit. So that's nasty. So John, are you surprised by this detail that they never washed the sheets?
I
No.
am, because their whole mantra was gym tan laundry. So
Oh my God, you're right.
yeah.
So they
So
skipped the step.
it was just GT apparently the whole time. We got flim-flammed the whole time. It was not GTL, it was GT. They
No
probably
one
skipped
called that out in
G
the
a lot.
podcast.
Well, that's why you need me. That's why I'm here.
No one ever called that out on the Complex Mag podcast. Like, no one even made that
I
joke.
should be interviewing these people.
I know. Come on the show.
But
I don't know, JWoww.
it's the grossest situation possible because they all shared the room. But not only that, the GT that led to the no L means they were sweaty because of the gym,
And
and
then
they
just
held that
oily.
fake tanner on that was coming off on the sheets, and it was melding in, and then the
And they were drinking a lot.
yeah, probably some
So they were just
vomit, like
leaking.
just subhuman level conditions that the people that they convinced to return to said abode with were completely happy to oblige. So it's gross. Does not surprise me in the least, but interesting that 15 years later, pop culture revisiting what was so big back then is resorted to. Did you guys wash the sheets in the room that you use for bangosity? And they did not.
It just makes me laugh looking at the outline right now for the show, and we go from Moana, which is beautiful, like Hawaii and like wonderful islands and about like ocean conservation and like being good to the earth, and then we go directly into Jersey Shore, like eating pizza, getting hammered. A different kind of beach, if you will. A very different beach from Moana.
What can we say except you're welcome?
But we're going to go back into something wholesome. Don't worry, because it's time for trailers.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
You say wholesome, Lacey.
I know you have issues with this. Go
But
ahead.
on trailer time today, we have one trailer, and it is the very controversial Disney Snow White live action coming at you on the first day of March. All the birds will be chirping at the fingertips of Rachel Zegler, and the flowers will be blooming, and people might not go see this. I don't know. But
I think people will take their kids to it.
Do you watch the trailer? Disney
Mhm.
Studios, we just talked about Disney. They love nostalgia. The Snow White is one of their oldest movies. It's like 150 years old. I think it's what Lincoln was watching when he got shot, actually, with Snow White in the theater. But
I think this is a copyright thing, isn't it? That they have the copyright unless they make another movie.
oh,
And
it could be. I mean, I don't know who, like, because Snow White is one of those tales that I think is not exclusive to Disney. It's like there's other versions, I think, out there.
It's
I'm not
Han Christensen.
Han Christian Andersen. Yeah.
Anderson,
Yeah. Don't come at me if you're a historian. I don't care. But but what do you think of the trailer in an objective vacuum, or everything else surrounding this movie? What do you think?
I think it looks like every other like strong female against an evil villain trailer. Like if you were to put this up against Maleficent or Sleeping, or that same thing, Cinderella, anything like that, like it all looks the same to me. I said this before, my issue is her hair. Her hair looks very Lord Farquaad from Shrek. Like I can't get by it. It's really bothering me. Besides that, Gal Gadot cannot act. And I had to laugh that someone put in, and look, I loved Wonder Woman 1, but she cannot act. You must give me this stone. Like she cannot act. She is someone that has gotten very popular because she's pretty. And I get it. She is very pretty. But she cannot act whatsoever. And someone made a funny comment in the trailer thread with the poster that said, how is it possible that this poster makes it look like she can't act? And it's a poster. And it's true. Like she just has this very dead, bored face. So I just don't buy that she's an evil queen. I feel bad for Rachel because I think she's a fabulous singer and I think she is a very good actress. from what I've seen of West Side Story and other things like the Hunger Games movie she was just in. But yeah, Gal Gadot, she's my issue. And I think she's terrible. And I think that I was like, you couldn't get anybody else? No one else? Throw Melissa McCarthy in there again. She was Ursula. Who cares? Make her this one too. Like, that would have been better for me than Gal Gadot.
You
If
know,
I have to listen to Gal Gadot sing Imagine again, like, maybe that'd make this movie better, actually.
Oh, yeah, the COVID thing? Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
You know who would have crushed it as the evil queen?
Who?
Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, yes. Yep.
She would have murdered this role.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not paid that money.
No, we're not.
I don't like Rachel Zegler. I mean,
I know you have issues with her. So your issue is that she made some comment about Snow White.
it was Snow White. She sort of mocked the original, saying like, it's weird. The prince is a stalker. And she goes, looked at the camera, weird, like that. Just like that. So obnoxious. So
Is
obnoxious.
he a stalker in the first one? I'm trying to remember what the story is.
It's
the
a
story is that
classic damsel in distress, and he kisses her and frees her from the poison or whatever.
the curse. She falls asleep.
Yeah, it's a dated old fairy tale where the prince saves this hapless princess in a sense. And I don't know if the source material is different or not, but they're remaking the Disney movie. So she still is going to eat the apple, which you're not very bright if you're doing that anyway. But then like the other comments about Gal, like she's doing an interview and Gal comes out of nowhere, all 8 feet tall of her. And she's like, and she's not going to be saved by the prince. And I'm just like, can we take it easy for a second? Like, no one's saying anything. Like, you're yelling at us.
Whoa, Gal. That's the most energy you've given in any movie. Let's take it down a notch. And
I
you're
know.
not even in the movie. You're in an
You're
interview.
Meryl Streeping us here on the red carpet. But it's just like that sort of stuff. And I'm not all butthurt about it. But it's like, and then she's like, I should be paid for every second that I'm in this outfit, that video too. And it's just like
that was during the strikes, though. You have to give some context.
I know, but it was filming this.
I understand that, but so like these separate comments, I agree that everybody has their opinion on individual comments.
But isn't there a decent way of conducting yourself? And I understand that she's still very young, and she may look back on that time in 10, 15 years and be like, oh my God, the way Lindsay Lohan now has come back, like after she went through hell. I'm not saying anything, like I'm not trying to comment on her, and her maturity.
I
or
think
anything,
Rachel is a theater kid and she acts like a theater kid.
Yeah.
She has no filter. She doesn't have media training. She just speaks out on what she believes, which she kind of speaks like she's on Twitter. She's very much like, this is what people are saying. That is coming from an age thing. The Gal Gadot thing, I can tell you right now, like her being like, she doesn't need to be saved by a man. That's literally her trying to get her little viral moment. But it backfired on her because nobody cares about that when they're going to see Snow White. No. Snow White is about kindness. Yeah. It's about being nice to everybody around you. And that no matter what, at the end of the day, good will overcome evil if you're a good person.
Yeah. I didn't really have interest in this anyway. I don't know how popular Snow White is. I don't think there's an attraction of Snow White at a Disney park right now. I could be wrong.
I think they were just running out of ideas.
So, and then these clips are undoubtedly going to come back out around that time. They're going to send Rachel Zegler out to all the shows to be as charming as possible.
Media training. She'll have talking points.
Not controversial as possible. Yeah. To try to win people over. But so far, like West Side Story didn't do well. It's a Spielberg movie about one of the most famous.
It was so beautiful, that movie.
She starred in that, didn't do well. Her Hunger Games, I don't think that did great compared to other Hunger Games. So
yeah, it did fine.
Do people like her? Do people want to go? Is someone going to go to the theater to see a Rachel Zegler movie? I don't think so. So the question is Snow White enough? Because we know Gal Gadot isn't. So this is going to be interesting. I can still see it making money, but I'm not necessarily rooting for this movie. But the trailer looks fine. It looked like they snuck in the the Seven Dwarfs mine train ride in the middle of this trailer. You know,
They definitely
they're
did,
like,
didn't they?
"Whoa, here we go!"
Whoa. They definitely did. You're totally right. Yeah, I think Rachel is kind of and I'm talking about her like I know her. She is a product of her time. She is Gen Z. She grew up in a very different time than a lot of these other actresses. She was discovered via social media from her singing Lady Gaga in an auditorium. Like that's how she
Are
got
you
discovered.
serious?
Yeah.
That's
She was
another
singing
part of
that
it.
song from the movie we were just talking about, A Star Is Born.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was singing that in an auditorium at her high school, recorded it, it went on social media, and then it went nuts. Like people shared. She was on the Today Show. It was all this other stuff.
But isn't that a whole part of it? Because a lot of people who get fast tracked to fame didn't earn it. Like they didn't go through a grueling process of trying to make it, going to, theater
Yeah.
school, small commercials, doing extra
She did
work. Like,
smaller plays when she was younger in high school and stuff, but no, she definitely pretty much got discovered on social media.
yeah, it's like Hawk Tuah, like now being the #2 podcast in the world, and the girl made a
Insane.
dumb joke into a street mic, and now she's the top podcast under Joe Rogan. And it's like, as a podcaster, it's just brutal because it's like we work so hard. It's like,
But at the same time, you can't blame her for getting
no,
her
I don't blame her
20
at all.
minutes. Yeah.
But it's like the way people get quick fame today, the personalities come with it because there's not a sense of gratitude or humbleness or a sense of earning it. Like where people had to really pay their dues to get to where they had to go, aside from the Nepo kids, of course. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that there is something to say to that it's just it's a different time. Like you can get discovered at any time, any place, and so yeah, there is a lack of humbleness, empathy coming from people.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
all right.
But
Yeah.
what are you watching outside of this trailer?
Yeah, let's get into it.
We can never leave the house and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
All right, Lacey, I know we're going to break hearts now because we're not doing the Hallmark game this week.
I know we got to take a break, guys, because I need to get caught up and watch a couple of them so we can discuss them in like an actual valuable conversation. And we've been wrapped up with Skeleton Crew. So kicking it off, we watched the first 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew a couple weeks ago. We even watched them again right before the premiere. Then I watched also the stuff come out on Disney Plus, the first 2 episodes. I loved it. You can hear all our thoughts on the TRB channel. Right, John?
Yes, Galactic Goonies made its debut last Wednesday night, so go check it out. Also, we're running a season-long contest, so be sure to get your first part of that on the show. But yeah, if you like Star Wars and you like Skeleton Crew, check out our show. Galactic Goonies is going to run through the middle of January, and then TRB will be back. But yeah, that's on our YouTube channel. So if you're watching Nerdy Nights right now, you're in the right spot. Make sure you hit subscribe, of course. And on its own podcast feed, the Resistance Broadcast, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. And thanks to everybody who's been sharing your Spotify raps. That's really cool. Appreciate that. But what was I even saying? Why am I saying these things? Oh, because you watched Skeleton Crew. Yeah. So we'll be back to talk about episode 3 of Skeleton Crew this Wednesday night, 8:30 East. We'll be joined by Children of the Watch. Our buddies Alex and Mac will be our first guests of the year to talk about the 3rd episode of Skeleton Crew. So tune in with us on our channel, youtube.com/@TRB podcasts, 8:30 live East Wednesday. And of course, on your podcast feeds for the Resistance broadcast later that night or early in the morning. But what I've been watching, obviously Skeleton Crew. I was looking for another Christmas movie for my kids to watch, so we threw on Jingle All the Way. And I like that movie again. It's a lot of fun. My kids loved it. So that's in the rotation. And I guess I'm filling the quota here. I watched a Netflix Christmas movie, the new Lindsay Lohan one called Our Little Secret.
Did Kathleen make you watch that?
We kind of both just threw it on as background.
I want to see it. Don't spoil it for me.
I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you're going to watch the first 30 seconds of that movie and be like, got it. It's not good. I'll just say that. I am a big fan of the Lindsay Lohan comeback. I support it. She looks fantastic. She seems to be back on track.
She had
Excited
a
for
baby.
had a baby. Excited for Freakier Friday, her reunion with Jamie Lee Curtis, all of it. I am saying this is pre-Lohan comeback. This was probably filmed a year ago. I don't think she would sign up for this today. It was probably part of a contract. She did a few of these movies. So don't watch Our Little Secret and judge Lohan today based on that movie. It's so bad, but it's like probably like those Hallmark movies. It's so bad, but it's funny. It's like how bad it is. So
She has a great sense of humor. Like she has great comedic timing.
yeah, she needs it in this one. Yeah.
You're so bad.
Whoa, I'm so bad.
I'm sorry, my voice is all messed up. As this conversation is happening, I think my Sudafed is wearing off.
Oh no.
I'm getting more and more. Ugh. I just realized I did watch something this week, and not only did I watch it, I'm pretty sure I watched it 4 times because my daughter is currently obsessed with The Grinch, not the old version, the newer version, with Benedict Cumberbatch.
What? Oh, are you calling the Jim Carrey one the old one? Because then there's the old.
I was talking
Boris
about the
Karloff.
1968 version.
Oh, so no Jim Carrey at all. Okay.
Jim Carrey's a little scary. I love that version, but it's a little scary. I remember seeing it in the movie theater with my parents, and I loved it. But it's a little scary for my daughter. So she wanted to watch The Grinch, and I was kind of nervous. I was like, oh, I don't know, because I had never seen the new version. The new version has Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch, and Rashida Jones is Cindy Lou Who's mom. Okay. I need to tell you all the differences about this version compared to the old version, because I know original Grinch, the Boris one. That's my Grinch. Hashtag that's my Grinch. This new one is narrated by Pharrell, the singer.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this. Yeah.
Not a narrator. He is not a voiceover artist. He is not a narrator. He can make music, but not the Grinch song. I don't know why they decided, oh yeah, let's have Pharrell make the Grinch song. He did a terrible job. It sucks. You suck at making a Grinch song, Pharrell. And he's a terrible narrator. He sounds like he's reading off a piece of paper. They got, with all the voiceover artists and beautiful voices we have in this world, they picked Pharrell. That's who they went with. They were like, yo, give it to him. He sounds like he has no emotion. Have you ever seen 600 Pound Life on TLC?
I hope not.
They do these voiceovers with the people that are trying to lose weight. And the voiceover sounds like the person's reading off a card that was written to them by the producer. So they'll be like, I went to today to eat some broccoli and I didn't like the broccoli, but the doctor said I have to.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Pharrell sounds like. He has no emotion in his voice. And it's so frustrating as someone that does voiceovers for a living and has read audiobooks. I was like, you can't read The Grinch? You can't add any emotion to your voice, Pharrell? And then he tried to make like a hip hop song out of The Grinch, and it just annoyed me.
Well,
Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing.
Hmm.
We already knew he would be. It's weird hearing him because he has a British accent, and I know him from Sherlock. And then in this movie, he does the American, like Doctor Strange accent. So it's fine. I did laugh that they were like, we need to up into new, make it new. So they like gave Cindy Lou Who no father, and like her mom's a single mom who's a nurse at night, who like lives on her own and takes care of 3 kids. I was like, she couldn't just like, I don't know, have a happy family. Like, and then of course it's made by Universal. So Kenan Thompson's in it because he's like owned by Comcast and Universal and SNL. They like have him do everything now. They were like, you're the voice guy for Universal Parks. You do all the commercials for us. You're going to be on SNL until you die. You're now the voice of this guy in The Grinch. I have to say, the first time I watched it, I hated it. The second time I watched it, I was like, okay, this is not that bad. The third time I watched it, I was like, okay, Benedict's pretty good. I actually like it. And there's some funny parts. The fourth time I watched it, I realized that Danny Elfman does the music, and the music is very good. He does a very good job.
Danny Elfman did that?
He did the music in it, yeah. Not the Pharrell song though. I can tell you that much. Danny would never.
I can tell you one thing.
What's that?
Pharrell will not be too happy about this review.
He'll never hear it. Pharrell, you'll never hear it. But if you do, like, what were you doing to the Grinch? Like, why did you do that? I have never been so angry about an update to a classic tale like I was with the Grinch. I was so mad.
Yeah,
Max was great though. I loved it.
My kids like it.
Do they like that song though?
Probably.
Do you like the song?
No.
It's terrible. Like, what is that? And then the credits are like a really crazy rap song. I'm like, this is the Christmas movie you're going with?
Yeah.
The vibe wasn't right. The vibe was not good. No vibe checks in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's like standing alone as some sort of revived classic version. So.
It made bank though.
Did it?
It was like it was one of their most successful films ever.
Yeah.
The animation was great. I will say that. And I loved what they did with the Whoville town where they made it kind of like a hill.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was good.
I loved the interaction with the reindeer. And it reminded me of a classic Disney movie because it did have adult jokes in it.
Yeah, Shrek does that too.
Like where he's playing the all by myself on the organ. Like clearly no little kid's gonna get that joke, but I got that joke. Or he's like at the beginning of the movie, he's like, how am I out of food? Was I emotionally eating? And then it cuts to him like eating all these disgusting, like huge piles of food. And he's like, I didn't eat that much. And the dog's like, like, well, like moments like that made me chuckle that I was like, okay, you got me.
So basically you like every part of this movie except Pharrell Williams.
Which is weird because I love NERD. But Pharrell ruined the Grinch for me.
What's
like
NERD?
I want to skip his band. I want to skip that whole section. And every time he comes on to voice the narration, I just like my hands do this. I'm like, ugh.
So if you could magically swap out Pharrell for someone else's narrator, who are you putting in as narrator to make that your favorite movie of all time?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't really consider this.
Who was it? Was it Anthony Hopkins in the Jim Carrey one?
He was good. Yeah, I think so. He was great. He has a great voice. Such a good voice. Then that guy that's all I like the guy that does all the Western commercials that has the big beard. He was on that ranch show with like Ashton
Sam Elliott?
Yeah, he's great. He's got a great voice.
He was the narrator for Big Lebowski. Yeah.
I just think that what happened was, if I was to guess, is that they were like, well, we can't top Boris, the original guy. We're not going to top Anthony Hopkins. So we got to turn right here. We got to go opposite direction.
Yeah.
So they got someone hip and different.
They should have just went with Snoop Dogg then and just like really sent it, as they say.
Yeah, but Snoop Dogg comes with his own thing. Like he comes with his own, like I keep saying it, but like vibe. Like Pharrell gave me nothing. I'm sorry, someone's calling my phone right now.
Oh, good. You should answer it right on while we're recording.
It's my dad. No, but Pharrell just gave me nothing. Like there's that meme, like go ahead, girl, give me nothing. Pharrell didn't. Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my dad is calling me again. Oh, you're calling me. You're such an idiot. You're such an idiot. I thought it was an emergency.
Went to voicemail.
Okay.
Exclusive reveal.
Anyway, as I was saying, went off on this tangent, but yeah, Pharrell ruined the Grinch.
Because I'm happy, except when I watch the Grinch. The movie sucks ass. Because I'm happy. This episode just became an absolute roast of Pharrell Williams for no reason whatsoever.
I want anybody to come back to me to explain to me how he did a good job with the narration. Please.
Lacey wants Pharrell's career to end.
No, that's not true. That's not what I'm saying. I love his music. I just don't want him to narrate The Grinch ever again or
Did he go
any
to those-
other childhood story.
Did he go to those parties? Then we could talk about it. You know.
Oh, the Diddy parties? Are you talking about the Diddy parties?
Yeah.
I think we're
Mhm.
about to find out some wild stuff for that in the spring, and I don't know if I want to cover that on this show.
I don't want to cover it either. The only other story I was going to cover on this episode was TMZ reported that O.J. Simpson's former bodyguard claimed to have a confession on tape, and the police seized it, and then they
Isn't
listened
OJ
to it.
dead?
OJ's dead.
What's it gonna do now?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it would be the only time he actually ever admitted to it if they had it on tape, and there was
Oh,
nothing on the tape, no confession. The guy was full of it. So it was.
Mm.
So I made a joke. I was like, "Did they host this as a live Netflix event?"
Oh, because it just dropped the feed.
Well, also because like such a disappointment. The Mike Tyson fight was nonsense, and
Love is Blind reunion where they kept trying to do it and they'd start and stop the reunion and then they
Yeah.
finally just said, okay, it's up here 3 hours later.
it's,
And then now they don't even do live. They don't do a live reunion. It's just already pre-taped.
yeah, it's all not. Yeah, or like a more serious example, like Geraldo Rivera, like going to King Tut's tomb and there being nothing inside, like on live TV.
I don't remember that.
Oh boy, yeah, a lot of wild stuff out there. But yeah, that's basically it. A little tight, nerdy, and nice for you all on a Monday. We hope your holiday season's going well. We hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and all that good stuff. And make sure you're subscribed to us, Nerdy and Nice Pod. Follow us on social media. We're on Blue Sky now as well. Also, Nerdy and Nice is on its own podcast feed. So make sure if you're a TRB fan, make sure you're subscribed to Nerdy and Nice. And if you haven't, this is your first time checking out Nerdy and Nice, hopefully you enjoyed it. Keep coming back. We have more fun stuff in store, new segments, that sort of stuff. We mentioned the Patreon at the top, but as a joke, but it is really a lifeblood for us, and it's a reason this podcast exists. So if you're able to, maybe grandma put an extra $5 in your Christmas card this month. Check it out. Patreon.com/TRB podcasts. Our tiers start at $5. We do a lot of exclusive content on there. There's a lot of perks, merch. We have Discord server. Check it out. We appreciate all the support. And check out our store. We finally have a Nerdy and Nice merch available at trbpodcast.com. So check all that stuff out now. We got pocket tees and all sorts of fun stuff on there, including brand new TRB merch. Can't do it without our patron support, the Movie Star Generals and Silver Screen Spice Runners. The Generals: Carmelo, John Risi, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Jolton Jedi DiMaggio, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Darth Snips, newest general. Silver Screen Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the Fort Worthian. And however you support Nerdy and Nice, the Resistance Broadcast, the TRB family, thank you all so much. Johnny Hoey for me on Blue Sky. That's the main spot. Still on X from time to time. And my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. We will be doing Wolf of Wall Street this week, I think. Lacey, where can people hit you up to talk about Pharrell?
No, don't, please. People can find me on social at Lacey Gilleran and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran. And then also I want to give a shout out to our patrons who joined our Secret Santa exchange. I'm so hyped about this. We had a bunch of people sign up. It's really exciting. But it's just an example of the fun stuff we do. We're also doing like a fantasy football league, which I am getting murdered in. My whole team is hurt. But it's just the community. Are you still number one?
Yeah.
No, don't let him win. What is happening?
As of this recording, I'm the only person who has a clinched spot.
What's that mean?
In the playoffs. I'm in the dance.
Oh, there's playoffs?
Yes. Oh, yes. Top 6 make playoffs.
What happens if you don't make it? Do all your team members go into the pool?
No, you just keep them and play a loser's bracket.
Oh. But I could trade my players to someone to make their team better, even if I've lost.
Trade deadline passed.
For the rest of the season?
Yeah.
Man, I know nothing about football, but I know a lot about the gift exchange, and I'm so excited about that. But it's just an example of the fun stuff we did. We did a Friendsgiving stream recently.
Oh, it's fun.
So outside of all the extra content we do, it's really about the community and having fun together. So I know I sound ridiculous right now. I sound like this, but I really hope that you consider it. But thanks.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. We'll be back with you with an episode next week, our 30th episode of Nerdy and Nice. Maybe we'll try something new. Maybe not. We'll see. But
It's called Pharrell.
Yeah. The Pharrell Williams tribute tour.
This is called the Grinch Hour.
Yeah. You were a Grinch about Pharrell, that's for sure.
Definitely was.
But anyway, Star Wars fans, we'll see you Wednesday night for Galactic Goonies. Hang out, 8:30 East. Get in the chat. Let's have some fun. And that'll be on your podcast feed also. So we hope you're all enjoying Skeleton Crew the way we are. And that's it. So until next time, enjoy your weeks. And we'll see you next week. See you around, kids.